You're wrong.
Nope.
But that's just because you haven't lived that robe life. Well, is there a holiday coming up? I'll get you a robe. Hello, Buckeyes. Welcome to Sports, the podcast that ends with a question mark, but it starts with, today at least, 2 questions. I'm Kate Nolan. He's Travis. Say hi, Travis.
No, not
Okay.
no.
Oh,
You don't
well,
get a
he
you don't
is.
get a hello.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello to
Present.
the listeners though.
Present. That's who you're saying. How? Like, I can't explain this to you every week. She's Christina,
Hello.
and this is today's question.
Hi, Katie, Travis, and Christina. This is Shelly calling, just enjoying some March Madness action. It's Friday at about 5:15 p.m. Eastern Time. That's important because my question is, I'm just curious how Travis's Friday is going at this point. I mean, I'm pretty stoked about some of the upsets happening in the March Madness bracket, so I'd just love to hear his take on things. Thanks. Love y'all. Mean it. Bye.
Oh, Shelly, love you and mean it. Hold on, Travis, not yet. We had one more. It's a little long,
great.
but you got to trust me when I say that it's worth it. Nope, hold on, I hit the wrong button.
You got to press play.
I know.
Hey, Katie, Travis, and Christina. First of all, I want to say hi. I'm Sam from the Chicago area, and I'm not kidding, seconds ago got the alert on my phone that Ohio State just lost to Oral Roberts. I needed to call immediately and ask Travis, man, what happened? I was going really, I'm from the Midwest, so I was going really hard on Ohio State, Big Ten schools this year. I had Ohio State going to the Final Four, so I'm pretty upset.
Me too, Sam.
I don't think I'd be as upset as you, though. I am terribly sorry, because not only did your team lose in the first round when you talked kind of a mad team, you know, quite a big fan, but you lost to a team named Oral Roberts. That's pretty bad. So, a couple questions. Travis, how are you doing? How are you dealing with it? That's for you. And then for Katie and Christina, I guess my question is, how much are you going to make fun of Travis about this? Because, I don't know, not that he deserves it, but he kind of does. So, I'd love to hear it. I love you guys, and I mean it. Bye.
Sam, it's perfect. You Sammed it. It was the perfect question. She said, not that he deserves it, but he
I thought this podcast
does.
was a safe space.
It is a safe space, Travis, and that's why her first question... Oh, I'm playing it again. Should we listen to the whole thing again?
No.
No, that's why her first question was, Travis, Jesus, it's happening on its own. I swear it has nothing to do with me. Sam is like, I'm not done. I've got more. Travis, how you feeling?
I haven't watched much basketball since about 5:15. I've edited like 7 interviews this weekend. Watched a lot of The Office and
You got a
Parks
lot
and
of work
Rec.
done.
Travis has been very productive.
Yeah. If you want to get work done, have your team lose in an epic fashion, and you will just stop watching basketball. I don't like March Madness is dumb. We shouldn't be playing. We should be about player safety.
Don't do this now. Don't you dare do this.
Do we not
now.
care about player safety?
I have cared about player safety since we started playing football. Travis. Oral Roberts.
I don't even know where they're located.
One.
You really blew it, Travis. You guys, Oral Roberts really busted a lot of brackets.
Don't get me started on that too. Oh my gosh.
Oral Roberts.
That's
Isn't
a tough
a
one.
Buckeye? A Buckeye is a nut, right?
It's a poisonous nut.
Right. Okay.
This is incredible.
So Oral Roberts depleted the nuts? I mean, come on. Come on. Oral decimated the nuts.
I don't appreciate
As
your
it does.
your cyberbullying.
What cyberbullying, Travis? Please, I'm dying to know.
Sending me the eye emojis, like just letting the fans know, like, hey, it's not good for Travis. Come tweet at him.
I was just looking at you. The eye emoji, as I understand it, is like, ooh, I'm looking over here. And that's what I was doing, Travis. I was checking up on you with my eyes.
You did check up on me via text, I will say. You sent a nicer one via text.
Thank you. Justice is served.
You did say, how you doing?
And what did you say?
I said, sadly, not well. I shouldn't be this affected, but I literally...
Hey, you put a lot into Ohio State.
I had two TVs set up to watch basketball, and I was like, the second TV gets turned off, the other one's going to the office. I fired the computer.
Did you fill your bracket out like an Ohio State fan? Did you have them winning the whole tournament?
So I only did one bracket, and it was just with a couple family members.
Same for me.
And I deleted the app off my phone.
Oh no.
So the answer was yes? You had them winning? Yeah.
I only did one bracket, so it's like, yeah.
Well, look, I think every person should only get to do one bracket, because when these crazy upsets happen, like I don't know if you heard Oral Roberts beat Ohio State, but when those crazy upsets happen and they go to the numbers and they're like, only blank % of brackets are still not busted, it's like, well, yeah, that's probably somebody's third, fourth, and fifth bracket. It's not fair.
People really need to stop. We get it. Your bracket's been busted. Nobody cares that your bracket is ruined. Shut up. Stop tweeting about your bracket being ruined.
Well, but what else are we going to tweet about right now, Travis?
Honestly, it is a pretty basic thing, because everybody's brackets are busted, mine included. So we don't,
You got to just accept that's what March Madness is going to bring you. Like, it happens more because more people are interacting with college basketball than usual, and they have no idea anything about anything going on, but they do have a personal rooting interest in it, and that's their bracket. So people are going to tweet when they made a weird pick that shouldn't have worked, but it did, and they're going to tweet when their bracket's busted and think that it's some sort of unique... It's just common human experiences. You got to just let that roll off your... I understand you're sensitive, Travis. I understand at this very sensitive time. People can be very sensitive right after the nuts get busted, but it's, you got to pick up and move on, you got to bounce back.
I'll get some people at least were creative in their jokes at me. I'm like, all right, if you're going to come at me, at least be creative and funny. And to those people, well done. Mm-hmm. To the others,
Oral Roberts,
get more creative.
Sounds like a toothpaste.
I don't know where they're located. No idea.
Honestly, I can't even tell you where they are.
Well, you know what? It's a learning opportunity. That's what this podcast is about. Oral Roberts, they're the Golden Eagles, and they are located in... Oh, it's one of the largest and most influential Christian universities in the world.
Wow.
This is about Oral Roberts as a person who was born in 1918. I would have thought a lot older. But he was I'm going to mispronounce this, Choctaw American charismatic Christian televangelist.
That's a mouthful.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so he founded, let me click on to get the actual answer to our question, Oral Roberts University, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Actually, now that you said, I did remember them saying that.
So you did know. So all this was for nothing.
I've tried to just forget the last 72 hours.
Do you want to know what their motto is?
Sure.
Educating the whole person.
That is a dumb motto.
I mean, it makes sense. They want to educate your whole body. The whole thing. Fingers to toes. But mostly your mouth.
I'm terribly sorry for your loss, Travis.
Yeah, Christina left me alone, so that was nice of her.
Oh, that's what... You left him alone?
Like, she wasn't texting me or whatever, and
People are checking in on you, Travis. I was worried about your mental health.
People are worried about you.
Yeah, not Christina.
I mean,
though,
not me, though. Not me. Clearly not me, but other people.
I don't know if worried is the right word.
I was genuinely worried. It's been a tough year. Having an L like this is why I didn't get involved. I didn't get into the football season this year, because I was like, the Patriots aren't going to do it. It's going to bum me out.
That's the reason you didn't get involved. It couldn't have been that Tom Brady left you guys.
Yeah, well, it was that combined with the fact that COVID could cancel the season at any minute. Imagine who's the team that was a VCU that's now just out of the tournament because of COVID. That
I do feel bad for them.
Stinks. That stinks so badly. And that would stink if you're a VCU fan and you're like, we're in the tournament. And you put all of your eggs in that basket, and then that basket gets COVID and has to leave.
That's incredibly unfortunate.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. A lot about college athletics. Very frustrating. I don't know if I've made that clear before.
2:30, I tweeted, I love March Madness because it was a game went into overtime.
Oh,
it's like you couldn't see that coming. You couldn't see that coming.
No.
You tweeted, "I love March Madness." That is some blind confidence.
That is the universe's way of saying,
yes.
Do you? Are you sure?
Do you? Because
Well,
love means in sickness and in health.
Through the ups and also the downs.
We were playing Oral Roberts, and their best player, his last name is like Abmas. He pronounces it Asmus. We lost to a guy that can't pronounce his last name. Not only is a letter silent, he added a letter to his last name.
You don't get to tell him how to pronounce his last name.
Katie, he took a letter, made it silent, and then added a letter in.
I understand what it looks like, and I understand that a lowercase b is delicious, but some of them taste like lowercase c's. It's just how it goes. And you just have to accept that. And maybe if you were willing to get into this discussion a couple weeks ago when I asked you what the most delicious letter was, maybe we could have figured out that a lot of lowercase b's taste very similar to c's. It's like a plum pluot situation.
But they don't, though. The C is much more delicious.
Well, Asmus agrees. Asmus? That's how you say it, right?
Yeah, but it's...
I just thought it was weird how many broadcasters were like, well, our bad, we've been pronouncing it. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, of course you have, but it's understandable. It's a B. So I could see why you didn't look at that and go, it's probably Asmus. We should start saying Asmus and then let him tell us that it's
feels right.
Asmus, which is what it looks, which is very much what it looks like. Like, I get it.
We can't get anybody's names right in this business. So, like,
what is that, Travis? What is that? Do you know how you sound when you say things like that?
I said it a few podcasts ago. Like, our own network can't get Woj's last name correct. Like,
that is true. We do struggle with Woj's name.
And we're supposed to get a guy from Oral Roberts.
I swear is Wojnarowski. Wojnarowski. I already messed it up. We try. It's about genuinely trying. So to Asmus, our bad. Shout out to you. No, okay, sorry, not Travis's bad, but. Sorry that your name had been mispronounced, and pretty cool that it's pronounced that way to everybody except Travis, who will, to be clear, respect you and pronounce your name the right way, but he's not going to do it with a smile on his face. He's just going to be very, very upset. He's not going to be disrespectful, Travis. He's going to say Asmus, but he's not going to do it happily.
Asmus.
It's Asmus. Travis, I can't with you any further. Is there anything else, tournament? How's everybody's bracket look? How's Christina's bracket looking?
Pretty busted. Yeah, not great. Not great.
I've been super busy, so I haven't been like updating mine. I'm in a pool with my mom, my dad, my brother's wife, Julie, my sister-in-law, and they keep texting me updates. And I think points-wise, I'm not doing well.
Are you looking at your hand-drawn bracket?
My homemade bracket.
I love that you made your own bracket.
Thank you. Are you being sarcastic?
I'm dead serious.
No, I genuinely like that too.
I was gonna say
it's pretty neat.
That's incredibly well written.
And I didn't plan it out.
Yeah. How many times did you have to try?
No, I got it on my first try. I think that's what being in your mid-30s means. You don't have to map out where you're gonna do it. You're kind of let's just do what works.
That's impressive.
Thank you so much.
In middle school and high school, I'd come home, and there'd be some games that were just ending. And I'd have a highlighter for right picks and wrong picks, and actually marking it. Having it on your phone just isn't the same.
It's not the same because you can't look at it all at once. There's really something about being able to look and see the bracket. I get confused when it's scrolling down a list and it.
Oh, me too.
The whole
I like
bracket
to visualize the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I need it to be like this. But I don't think we've discussed our brackets at all because of our recording schedule. We should also say it's Sunday today. We're recording a day early because I have work on Monday, which is a weird...
I'm all for this Sunday recording thing.
Yeah, you like this better? Does it make your schedule easier?
Yeah, and then I have time to edit. And I'm not doing anything on Sundays anyways.
Usually Sunday is the problem. But, as long as it's, March Madness. I mean, whoops, sorry, third month crazy time. Are we going to get sued? I have, so the reason I made a bracket was because Jay Billis's producer reached out and was like, Jay Billis specifically requested you on his bracket show that he's doing, which is the nicest thing in the world because Jay Billis and I have met in the sense that he has texted me that he, when I did something that he liked and was like, this rules, I'm Jay Billis. And so I wrote him a text once that was like, Jay Billis, I'm Katie Nolan, and this rules. And it was a clip of something he did. And then I got that email and I was like, okay, cool. I'm not going to let Jay Billis down. He seems kind of like the man. and I obviously was in LA, didn't have the ability to just hit print and grab a bracket. And the producer was like, okay, just before we have you on tonight, I do need you to send me over that bracket. And I was like, I didn't fill out a bracket yet. So then I made this one, and then I stressed out over it. But then Jay Billis said that I have a good Final Four. And so...
Who's your Final Four?
Gonzaga, Florida State, Baylor, Houston.
I think, yeah, they're all still alive as this taping, so...
Mm-hmm. I mean, as of this taping, my 3 of my Final Four are still in it, but I also have Gonzaga and Houston in my Final Four.
Did Virginia Tech beat Florida?
No.
Oh, that would have...
That was the first game that I was like, I love March Madness. It went into overtime.
Well, because, see, I had Ohio State. So I should say, to make you feel bad, I wanted to pick Oral Roberts, A, because of the name, and B, because football-wise, Ohio State and I have beef. But I was like, you know what? For Travis, I'm going to pick Ohio State. Because I think it would be
So you're the reason we lost.
Against... What? How is that what you're hearing?
You don't like us and you picked us.
You heard?
How is that? I just said the nicest thing, and you were like, you've caused me pain.
Katie, I'm a broken man, so I'm going to listen. I'm going to hear things differently.
Don't project your brokenness onto me.
Yeah, and I think you cursed us.
Okay, well, so then I did that for you, and then not for you, I had you lose in the next round. Problem is, so that like kind of saved me from busting my bracket, but I had Virginia Tech beating Florida, so it was Virginia Tech that was going to beat you, and well, they can't do that. So Arkansas has to just keep winning because that's who comes out of that. Whatever,
I had you beating Virginia Tech. That unfortunately won't be happening.
You also picked Virginia Tech. What were either of us thinking?
I don't know.
I wrote well-rested, quality wins, slow pace. Those are the 3 things that I used because they hadn't played a couple games in a while.
I deleted that, but I do know that 2 of my Final Four teams are already out.
I had Texas in my
Ohio
Final
State.
Four.
And Illinois.
Oh, yeah, Illinois. My brother had Illinois winning the whole thing. Sister Jean, dude.
She's a fraud.
Sister Jean is not a fraud.
She is.
You can't bet against her.
I tweeted this because I felt it's so corny, but when I saw her on camera, I genuinely was like, Sister Jean, what's up, dude? Like, it was so good to see her. And I don't mean this to sound offensive. I don't have any grandparents left. And so, like, obviously my parents are older now. They're in their 60s. So those are, like, my old people that I need to protect during COVID. But, like, my mom would kill me if I called her old. So I don't see my mom as old, but I don't have a grandparent. So seeing Sister Jean, an older person that I knew before COVID, quote unquote knew, and now I'm seeing after COVID, it was like filled my heart with warmth that, like, you made it through this.
And of course
so
she had to make the tournament about herself.
Travis,
No.
How is a woman of the Lord, a servant of the Lord, somebody that you think makes it about herself? She just wears sneakers and is nice to dogs.
Those sneakers are custom Nikes.
Yeah, she deserves them.
Because she deserves
Do the players
it.
get custom Nikes with their names on them?
Well, they can't, and that's the NCAA's fault. If you want to take that up with them, they can't profit off their likeness.
Also, she threw out the first pitch at a Cubs game. I didn't see the players out there.
Travis,
that's impressive.
This is the way
I'm just saying, she makes it about herself.
If you, as a college sports fan, I want to explain back to you what I hear when you do this. You're a college sports fan who has now only advocated for health and safety coming first because Ohio State was kicked out of the tournament. You're somebody that thought that schools persevering through COVID was good because it gave you the sports and it gave athletes the chance to play the seasons that they definitely weren't safe to play. For sure.
Oh, just for football. Okay.
Sure. Well, if Ohio State was in it, he would feel this way about basketball too, I promise. And now you're saying that Sister Jean is the one who is taking advantage of young athletes by taking the spotlight away and making it about herself.
Yeah.
Not that the NCAA is who takes advantage.
I wouldn't be shocked if she takes money out of the collection plate on Sundays.
Travis,
boy.
Can I just toss an allegedly and also say that his opinions do not reflect the opinions of this podcast? Someone on the Reddit's going to agree with you and say that we were too mean to you in this segment somehow, some way. But I'm going to keep up the guise of this being a bit and tell you that you're right. Sister Jean is a thief of both the spotlight and tithes. Is that the word? When you give money to a church?
I don't know, but she reaches in there.
Okay.
She's
Allegedly.
like a 20 for me, a 20 for Jesus. 20 for me, 20 for Jesus.
Go to Jesus. It's not a GoFundMe for Jesus.
Oh, no.
All right. I see that other than college basketball. Oh, by the way, I have Gonzaga winning. If anybody cares, I think nobody should, but people do care, so I'm saying it. I've picked them every single year, and I'm actually annoyed that this year they're undefeated, and so they're like the hot pick. And I'm like, you haven't been riding or dying on the Zag wagon, okay? I have been piloting the Zag wagon through a lot of crazy times. And it's never paid off for me. And the year that it might, everyone's going to be like, I also had Gonzaga. And it's like, all right.
Call it the Zaggin.
It's the bandzaggin.
I
We're
love
jumping
that.
on the bandzaggin. Christina, who do you have winning?
I have Houston versus Gonzaga in the final. Houston wins.
Ooh. That's an interesting pick. I don't think I've heard that one.
I have Gonzaga Baylor.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I do think, Gonzaga, I do think can get there, but to your point, I think because they're so hot, I just can't see them winning it all. So I think it'd be fun to see someone else do it.
They smoked Norfolk. Is that how you say that? I always feel weird saying that word. I want to say Norfolk, but it's like Norfolk. That's technically how you
I hope we get a
say
Houston Gonzaga battle so it's can be like Christina versus Katie.
Yeah, I bet you do wish that. I hope Ohio State makes it to the... Oh.
Our bad.
They blew it.
The union will be having a phone call with you about your bowling.
You know, next time you guys play oral, maybe you should discuss load management. All right, I see here in friendly banter, we have other things to talk about that aren't basketball. Christina, it says, Christina has a story for Travis, something to do with below deck. Go.
So, Friday, my sister went out to dinner, and she lives in Florida with her boyfriend. And so they went out to dinner. I do not watch Below Deck. And so, you know, when somebody texts you something, they're so excited to share this news with you, but you can't relate to the level of excitement because you just don't know who this person is. So
Sure.
my sister texts me in all caps, Rob from Below Deck is sitting right next to me.
Let's
And I
go.
went, cool. Don't know who that is. And so I instantly was like, who do I know that would appreciate this kind of news? Because I texted my sister back and said, I don't know who that is, but I am so happy for you in this experience. So I texted Travis and said, you watch Below Deck, correct? And he said, oh, I love it. And I said, I feel like you would appreciate this story. So she didn't say anything while they were eating dinner. She wanted to be respectful, but she's a huge fan. So they're all leaving, and they end up all walking out kind of at the same time. So she introduced herself and said, you know, big fan. Her and her boyfriend watch all the shows. And he asked if she wanted to take a picture. And so this is where I thought it was kind of funny, where I was thinking about our encounters pre and post pandemic. So she instantly was like, oh my God, of course I would want to take a picture with you because I love you. But then she thought, well, is that awkward? I mean, we both have masks on. Are you going to put your mask on for the picture? How close can we get to each other?
Yeah.
Can you put your arm around me? So then she was texting me saying, I feel like I looked like a dummy in front of Rob because I was awkwardly like, well, I'll take a picture with you, but we won't be touching. And so then I was just thinking how awkward encounters are going to be moving forward.
Oh,
where
yeah.
you don't know, you know, even somebody to that level, you don't know whether or not, can you hug them? Do you shake their hand? How
You
close
can't hug
do you
them.
stand?
You can't hug them, and I'll
Exactly.
tell you why, because I went out to lunch with Mina yesterday. I was so happy to see her. I haven't seen her in forever, over a year. And I saw her and I was like, can I hug you? And she was like, absolutely not. And I was like, okay,
All
damn
right.
it. Like, this is very difficult because obviously we both know logically, no, I can't hug you. But I'm like, but it's my friend Mina. And when am I going to see you again? And then I couldn't. She held firm. So good for you, Mina. Your resolve is strong. So no, she can't hug Rob from Below Deck.
Yeah.
Did you go with the fist bump or an elbow bump with Mina?
Yeah, we elbow bumped and it felt very
It's
steep.
so
Oh,
weird.
that's so
It felt
awkward.
I was like, I'd rather not touch you than bump your
Then
elbow.
elbow bump.
This sucks. I want to squeeze you, my dear friend. But anyway, Rob from Below Deck, is he one of the good ones, Travis?
No, he's probably the least person I'd want to run into at a bar.
Really?
He was
Yeah,
Right.
I had no idea who he was.
he was a strange person and quickly got
Stranger?
connection with this girl, and they're like talking about dating
Connection.
afterwards, and he was like very sensitive with when the bosun would give him orders, and part of it made me believe it was because the bosun was a female, and so it was like this like little like she was, I don't know how tall, maybe like 5'2", 5'4", like giving him orders, and like he would just get overly sensitive with the guys, and he was just a head case. Like he would play a great villain in a movie, like a secondary villain, not the lead villain, but like the guy that's always around him.
Man, Bravo really,
I love Bravo.
really has some terrible people on it. I hate that I now have a very pronounced Bravo beef, but we don't talk about it publicly, but you know, Dan's ex is on one of those shows, and she is not, she's not my favorite person already, and then seeing that apparently she's not, that she's being herself on television, so there are other people who now share my opinion.
Man, I'm curious now.
You know who it is. I feel like I've told you who it is.
You know you
but I don't
haven't.
want to talk about it because there's no benefit to like disliking your boyfriend's ex publicly as a woman. But it's like, I have real reasons. There's real reasons.
Oh, well, back to Below Deck. You two should start watching Below Deck. Seriously.
Okay. It wasn't Jamel on Below Deck?
Yeah, she was on one, and there was her episode was very funny.
Yeah. Was she good, or was she? I feel like I worry because I love her so much. I'm afraid to watch it and be like, oh, you got hammered, Jamel.
You're like, oh no.
They came
got
across
hammered and
as like
embarrassed.
the crew that like you'd want like fun to work on with, because they weren't like this high maintenance people. They were like,
that's good.
You know,
Okay.
I've
never seen
the
this
concept is that it's a bunch of people who work on a luxury yacht that gets rented out
super
by
yacht.
rich people. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh.
A super yacht. So this yacht has superpowers.
Not an everyday yacht. It's a super
What's the
yacht.
difference between a yacht and a super yacht?
you have
Google it while
a
you talk.
chef and typically 3 interior and 4 exterior working on it, and they're also, you know, they're being filmed and they're doing their jobs, and then every so often they'll have nights off where they can go out and get dinner and get drunk and drama happens.
Who do they serve on these super yachts?
So you can tell that they're like rich people, but every so often there'll be like someone of note. Like Jamel was on there.
Whenever it's rich people who aren't famous, you're like, oh, they got money. Like they have money.
Yeah.
Do you remember the movie Left Side? The football movie?
Left side? You mean blind side?
Blind Side. Why did I say Left Side?
Oh my god, I love that I was right. Left side.
Yeah, I was like, left
no,
side. Have
but
I seen that?
They made
No?
2 movies about side? That's weird.
That couple and their friends were on one of the episodes before.
Oh. Okay.
Is she problematic? I haven't followed up on her. but
Leanne?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I could see her being one of those. But I don't know. So allegedly.
I know that the tip is
Allegedly.
usually around like 20,000.
Oh, damn. Yeah,
Oh,
this
wow.
is a super yacht is a commercially operated luxury yacht. So that means it's like a yacht. It just has a staff on it, I think. It says like a super yacht doesn't have a specific
Interesting.
size distinction, but the term most often refers to yachts that are at least 80 feet in length. Is that average? I don't know.
Before you go, you'll send like the list of like things that you kind of like, or ingredients or foods that you don't want, so the chef kind of has an understanding of what kind of things, and you can pick out. On Tuesday we want Italian. On, you know, Thursday we want like some seafood boil. Like you can kind of pick out what you want.
And there's drama.
Oh yeah.
And so
Always
you're
drama.
following the same crew? Is it a different crew every season?
There's a few new people, and then they'll have like a few holdovers.
But is it the same boat, I'm saying?
No,
Or
there's
is
a
it,
couple-
like,
there's a
sometimes they'll
couple
do
boats,
different boats,
and there's-
But per season?
No. It's the same boat and the same crew for that season.
Okay.
And then like
Okay.
the next season rolls around, and so there's usually 2. There's Captain Lee, who's a badass, and Captain Sandy, who's also cool.
I like
And
that you refer to them by their respective titles.
well, yeah, you got to respect the chain of
Captain
command.
Sandy sounds like somebody from
Naturally.
SpongeBob, but all right.
And so then the crew will kind of rotate, and then there's always like pretty much every season 1 or 2 people either quits or gets fired, and so they'll bring someone in. Sometimes it's a new person, sometimes it's someone from a previous season. Like, don't follow these people on Instagram because you're like, I want to do that job, because they're always like in paradise, but you see the Instagram life that they live, not the
Yeah.
rest.
Yeah.
And then there's a sailing
Working on a boat would be
below
hard.
deck version that's going on right now,
Oh, sailing like,
Where they're
like
on a-
America's Cup?
where they're on a yacht that can also, you can sail.
I mean, what's the distinction there?
I don't understand why anyone
they just
would
have to
go
be
on
more
that.
fit. they might have to be more fit because they got to work the. I was gonna say work the poles, and you know what? I still am. I don't know what the official sailing term is, but they got to do the lifting and the. Look, I play a lot of Assassin's Creed. They got to lift the sail. It's a whole thing, so it takes a lot of muscles. So maybe it's just a more muscly version of. Okay, so that sounds like a show. So I should watch that. You're saying?
Yep.
Okay. We'll give it a go.
Do you watch Summer House, Travis?
I haven't, but
okay,
I could.
No, I do.
I was just wondering. You do?
I do.
All right. Big fan of it?
I wouldn't say big fan at all. It's just something to have on.
Yeah.
Trash TV's the best because you can have it on. You can be on your phone or doing stuff. You don't have to pay close attention to it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Well, that's
But
how I feel about
too,
most reality shows.
I will say too, if you go to the gym and watch Real Housewives, you can start to like see personal dynamics at play that you're like, oh, well, here's what needs to happen. She needs to speak up for her, or she's just projecting what's going on in her marriage onto their friend. Like you can kind of see it and it makes sense. But if you just half pay attention, they're also very good and trashy and make you feel better about who you are as a person.
I don't think any reality TV show is ever going to come close to the love I had for Jersey Shore. So I watch reality shows. I enjoy them because they're mindless and because I like to invest in other people's drama that is not my own.
Did you watch the newer Jersey Shore where they are older now? I heard it didn't have the same.
No, it's not the same because they're they're just and I don't mean this in a bad way, but they are parents trying to let loose again, but in the weirdest ways. It's just not. It doesn't hit the same. I can tell you.
It's also like I don't know when you meet their kids or like about their kids, you look at them differently, which isn't fair.
The other day about Mom of the Year, and now you're twerking and
which is fine, which is great. And moms should twerk, but there is something to it being forward facing and knowing your kid is going to have to go to school. And mom was doing that. Again, power to women, and maybe society will change to the point where that's okay. But until it is, you got a kid, I don't know. I feel like someone's going to be mad at us for saying this. Yeah. Everyone should do whatever they want to. Travis, also in Friendly Banter, you have a middle school breakup story, which I assume isn't just because it came up in your mind, but is because on the Thursday podcast last week, talking to Megan Gailey, I came upon a memory that I'd forgotten about and suppressed way deep down inside of a time that I got absolutely owned in the middle school cafeteria by Dom Fitzpatrick.
Way to go, Dom.
Oh, we're dropping names.
Don't you regret it now, Dom.
Who grew up to drive a yellow Nissan. What were those? Was it an Xterra? The one that I'm like, I could see it everywhere.
I do not know cars. I embarrassingly do not know cars.
We ended up being friends, which means that I just forgave him and probably still had a crush on him. So shout out me for being Mother Teresa. But Travis, and a pushover. But Travis, you said that because you texted me and you were like, I got a middle school breakup story that rivals yours, which I don't think could possibly be true since mine wasn't a breakup. It was just genuinely people pretending they wanted to date me because the punchline was that who would want to date me. But you go ahead and tell yours. We'll compare our pain.
So I don't know what grade it was in, but it was in middle school, so probably like 5th or 6th. We went to this.
5th grade is elementary school. So
yeah, let's get that straight.
That's not. It's middle school.
Middle school is
6th, 7th, and 8th
grade.
My middle school was 5th through 8th, so
Wow, well, you guys had dances in 5th grade? I remember in 5th grade, the thing we looked forward to most about middle school was like, oh my God, there'll be dances. We can go party at night.
We can go party in our gym.
Yeah, elementary school, you can't party. Seeing your school at night in middle school was like, what is this?
Yeah, I was like,
anyway,
this
sorry,
is
go
cool.
ahead.
And then the teachers are like, don't get too close.
And then you see,
yes.
I don't know what the proper term is now, janitor, custodian. I know one of those is offensive, but you see one of them in the school at night and you're like, oh man, you guys work hours, huh?
You've been here all day
at night? That sucks. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
It was like this field trip, but it was like where we were staying there for like 2 or 3 days. And so and at lunch, if you didn't eat all your food, you didn't get a golden spoon. If you didn't get a golden spoon, there was like points or something that like reward or whatever.
This is very Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
So I'm dating this girl, and she's at our table, and like she wouldn't finish eating. And I'm like, if you don't finish, we don't get the golden spoon. I'm breaking up with you. And she didn't finish. She didn't clear her plate, so I broke up with her because I wanted the damn golden spoon.
This was a middle school breakup story that rivals mine.
This was supposed to rival the pain Katie
felt.
So
you were because there were 2 stories. One was that my middle school boyfriend, who's very, very sweet, and I think just genuinely didn't want to date anybody and was like, I was only doing this because I felt really bad for you, but I don't feel bad enough. Broke up with me in my Valentine's Day card that I opened in the cafeteria. That cafeteria housed a lot of my pain. There was a lot of residual pain. I think if I walked into my middle school cafeteria right now, I would probably just freeze and be like, I need to get out of here immediately. But so you're saying you broke. How long had you been dating this girl?
Oh, I have no idea. It wasn't anything serious. It was like 6th grade.
Well, maybe she thought that it was serious, Travis. Maybe you guys weren't on the same page, and all you cared about was the golden spoon?
Yeah.
Well, you gotta stick to what you believe.
What's so funny about this is Travis texted me as well on Saturday and said, I have a middle school breakup story. And I said, okay, I didn't go to middle school. I physically did, but I blocked that out of my memory because I choose not to remember my time in middle school because I hated it so much. And I said, okay, I'm ready for this. I'm ready to see if you endured the pain I did through middle school. But no, you broke up with a girl because of a golden spoon. Okay.
One of the only memories I still have from middle school was that the absolutely beautiful popular girl, Jessica Valente, the nicest compliment I got in middle school. The nicest compliment I got in middle school was her saying, yeah, she's annoying, but if you're nice to her, she'll let you copy off her math. And I was like, that is so nice. Thank you for noticing. Thank you so much. And I will let you copy off of my math. I will absolutely help you with your math, Jessica. And she was like, cool. This doesn't mean we're friends. It just means like, I'll be friendly and I won't bully you, but we're not friends. Please don't tell people we know each other. I was like, you got it.
My handwriting still is so bad that I would like offer my homework to friends and they're like, I can't read it. I'll just take the incomplete on the homework project.
I also realized that in middle school I was like entrepreneurial in the sense, like I was very much looking out for myself. I don't think I noticed it consciously at the time, but I became friends with the scary bullies. Like Evelyn Gonzalez, who could beat anybody up. She and I were very close.
That's smart.
May Namboire also could beat anybody else up. And I was like, you're my friend. I'll be friendly with you.
What kind of middle school did you go to? Were you like...
I got picked on. I was getting picked on all the time. And nobody was going to be friendly with me because I wasn't cute. And so I just went up to the big scary girls and was like, I see the human in you. Do you want to copy off my math homework? And then if anything goes down, can you take care of that for me? Thank you so much. If I get cornered in a bathroom, can you just come in and look scary and scare them off?
That's why you got to fight the first one and then it sends a message.
Says
the guy that's never been in a fight.
I was a string bean.
Did you ever do like 3-way phone calls? Like where you like in middle school you would like get on the phone
I'd call
with
for
a
two
friend.
more friends, Christina.
I was victimized by 3-way phone calls very often.
No, me too. I was probably the most vivid memory I have of middle school, which I really choose to forget. I was in 7th grade. Bangs, braces, glasses.
Jesus.
Cutest girl on the block.
The trifecta.
I was bangs, braces, sideburns.
Oh.
So I was right there with you. Mm-hmm.
Travis has spit out his white wine.
I looked like a beetle.
It was really not cute. Anywho, the popular kids in school, they all wanted to go to the movies because that's what you do in middle school. You go to the movies. And I somehow, by, the grace of the universe, I got invited and I don't know how. I think someone sent the text to the wrong person probably. And I got invited.
Texts in middle school. Thank God we didn't have those yet.
I was waiting for my parents to drive me. I remember my dad saying, okay, when are we going? And I said, I don't know. I text and she calls me and she said, we've actually decided we're not going. And I was like, okay, that's fine. She's like, yeah, there's so many people, a lot to coordinate. I was like, yeah, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. So I hang up. Then I get a phone call. I just want to let you know, because I'm a good person, that we actually are all sitting on the phone and she decided to call you because she thought that you were too weird to come. And I said, you know what?
Christina.
That makes a lot of sense. So I hung up and said, okay. So I looked at my dad and I said, we're not going to the movies. Doesn't make a lot of sense. I said, we're not going to the movies. I'm too weird to go, apparently. So I became very good friends with my parents through middle school.
Oh, man.
That was my middle school experience.
Middle school is so mean. If you're listening to this and you're in middle school, like, genuinely, when the phrase "it gets better" started to get popular, I was like, boy, I wish somebody told me that in middle school, because there were nights where I was just like, why why do I have to keep doing this? No one's being anything I do any decision I make, they're going to make fun of me for. I remember, and if I've told this before, I know it's stupid, but my mom, I was like, Mom, I just need you to buy me like one shirt that says Abercrombie. I know you don't like that company. I know you think they charge way too much for really chintzy clothes, but like I just need it to say Abercrombie on it because like people keep making fun of me because I can't afford Abercrombie, which like now I'm like, who gives a. But then I was like, Mom, I got enough working against me with this haircut and these braces, and I have the elastics, and I got to wear them all the time. So I was like, Mom, I just need one shirt. So she went to the Abercrombie outlet, and she got a shirt that had, I think, A and F, like, stitched onto it, but it looked fake. It looked like somebody sewed an A and an F made out of felt onto a shirt, and my mom got it for me, and I was like, what is this? And she was like, it's from Abercrombie. So I was like, okay, this will work. So I wore it.
Backfired.
And at the beginning of the day, people were complimenting me on it, and I was like, this is working. And then by like whatever period, fourth period, I heard them being like, it's Fabercrombie. She's wearing Fabercrombie.
No.
And I was like, oh God, I didn't wear a shirt under this shirt, so I have to walk around all day wearing this shirt that everybody is making fun of me for because they think it's fake Abercrombie. Man,
Kids are
middle
so
school
mean.
it's just like violence. It's like constant
I liked middle
violence on
school.
your soul. Of course you did.
I feel like, honestly, I feel like guys tend to enjoy middle school more because when you're in middle school, all you care about is playing sports, running around outside at recess. Like, you have so much energy.
Foursquare, man.
And guys, yeah, and like middle school
elementary school
boys
friends.
get along with middle school boys. Middle school girls, they are mean. They are mean. They are ruthless.
Well, in middle school boys are mean too. They just also
Oh,
aren't in touch with their
absolutely.
emotions.
I entered high school at 4'11", so I could have easily been picked on. Easily. I was the shortest person in our grade.
You should have made friends with Evelyn Gonzalez and Maynard Blare.
But I had bigger friends, so it was good to go.
Yeah, that's
Man, I
smart.
should check in on Evelyn Gonzalez, see how she's doing.
And then I had a
She's awesome.
sibling who is 6 years older than me, but like he had friends that are younger than him, so like in the middle side, like protection. So like you like as a freshman, you go to a party and it's like he's good because he's with us.
Yeah, that was my crew. They didn't call me on the weekends, but they were there for me when I needed them to be.
I would have called you guys to hang out.
Something went down.
Oh,
thank you so
you.
much.
I would have called
Yeah.
you too. I joke with my boyfriend because I've known him since high school, and we went to rival high
Oh,
schools.
boy.
And I joke that I'm so glad I didn't meet him until high school because middle school me, he never would have talked to me. Absolutely not. And he's like, yeah, I played quarterback and like of the football team. I was awesome in basketball, and I'm like, yeah, you never would have talked to me. Bangs, braces, and glasses.
It's my favorite thing
Boy
about Dan is
magnet.
whenever Dan talks about obviously his childhood was very different and more difficult, but like whenever he talks about his friends in middle school and high school, I'm like, oh, you were the boy me, and I was the girl. You were the one that got invited because you were funny, not because of really anything else, and all you wanted to do was make your friends laugh all the time. I was like, that was me. Because I'm like, well, I got to bring something to the table. And clearly I'm never going to look like Jessica Valente, who had bangs, Christina, but she had the perfect ones. Like, she figured out how to use a roller brush before everybody else, and her
Yeah,
bangs
could never
just
do that.
looked perfect all the time. She was absolutely stunning. I think last I checked on her, which was a very long time ago, she was like a UFC ring girl, like one of those like very attractive women that they objectify. But I was like, yeah, you are lovely. But not so nice, Jessica. I hope you became nicer as you got older. But if you need my math homework, you can still take a look at it. What else? Mental health update. Travis noted before the podcast that I have gone from 0 to 100 in terms of work. I've gone from not working to now working so much that I'm like, God, I don't know what's happening. So I'm a little frazzled and thrown off, but I miss Myrtle more than I thought that I would.
And you're still in LA, right? Mm-hmm. So it's been a long time since you've seen her.
I won't go back till Wednesday.
That surprised me that you missed her more than you thought, because I assumed that you like were preparing yourself.
I knew. Well, also I only found out I was coming out here 2 days before I came out here, so I didn't really have a lot of prep time. But I dude, I did know I was going to miss her, but when Dan talks about her when we're on the phone, I'm like, can you just stop? Because it's upsetting me. He's like, oh, she's looking at me and it's so cute. I'm like, can you just not? I don't.
Like,
she's not looking at me. Just don't. But I guess she's been like running into the bedroom and like curling up on my side of the bed.
Oh, that's so cute.
Really tugging at my heartstrings. But
she's going to be so happy when you come back.
I'm afraid she's going to just piss everywhere when she sees me. Or the worst thing will be if she just looks at me and is like, finally you're back, and just like walks away. It'll be devastating. I won't be
What
able
if she's
to
just
live.
like, what's up? And then just turns around.
She's like, oh, you're back.
I'm like, oh, you?
Cool.
Ugh, all right.
Oh my God. It'll break my heart. I won't come back. I'll take the week off. I have to figure out, I might as well say this here now. I have to figure out when I'm going to interview somebody between now and when we have to put a podcast up on Thursday. So it's entirely possible that you're going to get like a just me talking to myself, or like I don't know, because it's either I do it today or try to do it Wednesday night or Thursday morning. So I'm trying, but my schedule got way too hectic, way too quick. And I'm like, oh, I actually don't have a bunch of days to record that. So I'll figure something out.
We'll get it done.
We'll get it figured out. Do you guys need a mental health update, or do you want to just move on to the bracket?
I'm good.
I mean, your updates if you have them.
The callers were, I think, the mental health update.
Your mental health update. And Christina, you're good? We got a thumbs up?
Oh, I'm good.
And your boyfriend's not smelly?
Nope, no, not smelly. So we're good.
Hell
We're
yeah.
good over there too.
Anything else that you need him to change that you want to bring up here?
Oh yeah, do you not like the way he chews with his mouth open?
Is his
or
cooking
something?
not been up to par? Like what do we need to fix?
No,
Is he
actually,
doing anything weird
the,
with his socks?
The cooking's been great lately. Actually, we just made wings earlier. We're making cauliflower pizza later.
Does he wear like mismatched socks
Trying to
that
be
bother you?
healthy. No, actually, if anybody's wearing the mismatched socks around here, it's me. So.
I mean, what is matching socks? Who
Exactly.
cares at this
I
point?
care deeply. It bothers me.
Do you?
When Dan got his when we first started dating, he got his laundry because he lived in Queens, so he would like send out his laundry and then pick it up. And they don't bunch your socks up, or maybe they do. And I watched him like undo them and put them in his drawer as single socks. And I was like, well, we're gonna have to work on that.
Whoa,
That's not. We're not having a. You're not. You don't have a drawer full of just socks.
Just socks
You make them
rolling
pairs,
around.
right?
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I don't make them pairs. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean you don't make them pairs?
That's like sociopath tendencies.
Yeah,
I know.
is he okay?
He's fine, I think. But I think for him, it's just like either you just put them away or you have to do the work of pairing them up. And he's like, I'll just delay that part until I'm ready to put the socks on, which I guess is a method. But
It's a method. I don't think it's the best method, but it's a method.
Strange. Look, he's not perfect, but I love him. I believe in him. I think he's a good person, and I can help him with the things that he's
It's going to be hard for me to get past this one.
Well, you don't have to date him, Travis, but if you want to,
Luckily
just
for
let
you.
me know. Just don't tell me at my middle school cafeteria I can't get dunked on again, okay? I
Okay,
just can't.
perfect.
It'll break me. Today on the podcast, it's our second to last bracket, which means it's the bracket designed still by the union. The design of the bracket is still in the hands of the union. I have not even glanced at this one, not because I've been super busy, but because I trust the union, after our discussions during last week's bracket, that they looked ahead and considered matchups and provided us with a well-planned bracket.
We hope so.
So what is the union's presentation today? What is the bracket?
Cereal.
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 Have we done that?
That's what I said, and we checked, and I don't think we have.
Well, here's the thing. My memory is so garbage that even the ones we had done, I didn't remember for sure if we had. So if we've done cereal, I bet like Camille remembers, but shout out producer Camille. But I don't. And so we'll give you all brand new content just still related to cereals. How many did we use for this bracket? 16?
Yeah, we did 16.
Okay, just the usual 16. Before we get to that, do we have 3 ads today?
We do.
Or 2? Today's podcast is also brought to you by, let me look, Indeed. Indeed it is. So Travis, how would you like me to tell the people about Indeed?
Dory, but when she's talking like a whale.
You're really just doing the greatest hits.
Wait,
Hiring! What?
really?
Yeah.
Oh.
These are the greatest hits. Hiring is one of those things that you do not want to mess up. You need to hire great people if you want to take your entire business to the next level. This is going to take a really long time. With the stakes this high, there is only one choice. Indeed. Now let me tell you why. Indeed.com is a hiring site that helps you find quality candidates with Indeed Instant Match. Christina has taken out her headphones because she cannot stand the sound. She is switching to a different headphone that is less invasive of her personal space. Indeed Instant Match. Indeed searches through the millions of resumes in their database to help show you great candidates instantly. So you can do the part you really need faster. Meeting and hiring great people. The whales out there are like, I didn't know all this stuff about jobs. I finally understand what this lady's talking about. We're not even halfway through. Unlike some hiring sites, Indeed gives you full control and payment flexibility, delivering a quality shortlist faster. With Indeed, there are no long-term contracts, and you can pause your account at any time. And you only pay for what you need. Yesterday, I heard a woman in the room next to me have a regular volume phone conversation, so there is zero chance if someone's in their room right now that they can't hear me. This is... With Instant... Did I say that already? With Instant Match, you get a great list of great candidates with zero word. Want your quality shortlist fast? You need Indeed right now. Our listeners get a free $75 credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/Nolan. This is Indeed's best offer available anywhere. Get a free $75 credit at Indeed.com/Nolan. That's Indeed.com/Nolan. Offer valid through March 31st. Terms and conditions apply. Okay, bracket. What do we got, Travis?
Up first, Fruit Loops versus Fruity Pebbles.
Ooh, it's so hard.
Personally, I think it's easy.
Well, here's my thing. I would go Fruit Loops, probably. It's probably where I'm going to go. I will say Fruit Loops have changed from when I was a kid to now. I think they probably took some sugar out of them. They changed something. They're a lot smoother. They used to be a rougher loop, and now they're smooth in a way that I find suspect. And they feel a little bit waxy in my mouth, which I don't think they used to do.
Isn't the smoother part an improvement, though?
Sometimes it's off-putting. I'm like, how was this made so perfectly? It's like it should be a little misshapen. Otherwise, it feels too mechanical. I don't know. I can't describe that. It's just the way that I feel. When things are too perfect and they don't have little imperfections, I'm like, what's up? This isn't right. Point is, Fruity Pebbles I never had as a kid. My family was if Cracklin' Oat Bran isn't on this bracket, then I'm not really going to be able to participate. Because as a child, that was my favorite cereal because it was better than Grape Nuts. And Grape Nuts was the other cereal we had in the house. So Fruit Loops I was allowed to eat when my dad would buy those little variety boxes.
Oh, yeah,
every
yeah.
now and then.
Love
And be
those.
like, okay, guys, it's fun cereal week. But Fruity Pebbles never came in those, and my mom, I think, thought those had too much sugar. But in my adult life, Fruity Pebbles is now my favorite topping for yogurt-flavored frozen yogurt.
Yes.
Like if you get a pink berry, which is just the word I'm using to, like red mango, the thing that represents a tangy, tart yogurt frozen, not like vanilla frozen yogurt, but it's like yogurt flavored. If you put Fruity Pebbles and mochi and like mangoes on that, that is the best.
The thing that I have against Fruity Pebbles is it quickly just becomes just
soggy.
yeah
mush.
It gets soggy too fast. are Cocoa Pebbles also on here, or do Fruity Pebbles represent for the Pebbles?
What am I looking for again?
Cocoa Pebbles?
We have Cocoa Puffs.
Different.
What are,
Not the same. So all Pebbles are, this is the Pebbles.
Yeah, the
yeah,
all-encompassing
yeah.
Pebbles.
Okay. All right.
Fruit Loops, I feel like it's also one of those things that like you can eat dry. Where like
Yes.
You can also eat Fruity Pebbles dry,
I don't,
but yes.
but like trying to reach in there.
Fruit Loops dry is when they get waxy in your mouth. You know what I mean? When it feels like the roof of your mouth has like a layer of wax
like
on
coating.
it. Like,
I
yeah.
can see
Yeah.
that.
I can understand what you're saying. But I agree with you, Travis, that I feel like Fruit Loops are easier to eat.
Do you know that
Dry.
Fruit Loops all taste the same?
Yeah, I did. I assumed.
I did not know that as a child. I learned that as an adult. But I still choose to believe in my head that they all taste
I did a little
different.
research today, and one of the reasons that it's not actually spelled as in fruit, F-R-U-I-T, is then when people have
Because
tried
you have a box.
people have tried to sue them, and they're like, "Well, we're not claiming to be fruit."
Oh my God, really? They spell it fruit so that they can say that they never said there was fruit
Yeah,
in it?
they've been people have tried to sue them a few times, and they're like, "Well, look at the box."
Stop trying to. What are you going to sue them about? That there wasn't fruit in your.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
Processed
sugary cereal. It's sugary
I will
processed
say-
cereal.
The downfall, but also the benefit. Like the first few bites of Fruity Pebbles are better than every bite of Fruit Loops, but Fruit Loops later bites, the whole bowl is enjoyable, whereas Fruity Pebbles, it's like you got to eat that fast.
well, that's why you're right. With Fruit Loops, what you have to do, you have to strategize in that you pour it in there, and then you walk to wherever you're going to sit. Then you need to stir it and get some of the stuff that's on the
Yes, you
bottom.
need to coat the milk.
Yeah, you need to get the stuff on the bottom and eat that first, so that the top layer then can hit the milk and then get the proper amount of sogginess to it.
Yeah, it's
No, I
like
completely agree.
Which
you've got to pay a lot of attention to that bowl as you eat it. You can't
'Cause it's-
kind of just.
It's like those
Eat it
those
slow.
top Fruit Loops that don't have milk on them. It's like when you eat them, it's like shards. Like it cuts
Oh,
the
yeah,
roof
yeah,
of
that's
your
true,
mouth.
too.
So you do
Yeah.
have to mix it around and make sure the milk evenly coats it all, which is annoying.
I have that opinion stronger about a different cereal that, again, I'm hoping is on this bracket, which we'll get to. So yeah, I think Fruity Pebbles are good. I prefer them actually as an ice cream topping, not as a cereal. And so I'm cool with taking Fruit Loops for that reason.
me too.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, Fruit Loops moves on. Look at that. So far, so good,
I
Travis.
think that might
What's
be the
next?
first ever time that we've all three agreed on.
I know.
And we've actually talked through and offered valid points because Travis sometimes doesn't do that.
That is erroneous. That's not true. Up next, Honey Nut Cheerios versus Cocoa Puffs.
Okay, I'm going to unpopular opinion and go Honey Nut Cheerios. Are they the only Cheerio in the bracket?
Yes.
Yeah, I
There's your
left
first
off
mistake.
regular Cheerios.
They should be apple cinnamon Cheerios.
I
which
was
are
going
by far
to
the
put
superior Cheerio.
Absolutely. I was going to put apple cinnamon Cheerios, but I didn't know if that was a crowd pleaser. It's my personal favorite Cheerio.
Favorite. It's one of my favorite cereals. We always have a box. We keep that AC.
Listen,
C
the
on deck.
union listens to everybody. We can make an adjustment on the fly.
No, it's okay. I don't want to blow everything up because I also love Honey Nut Cheerios. You forget that they really are the perfect cereal in the sense that like a Cheerio is an O, but it's not a Fruit Loop. It's a tiny little O. Kids love to eat them. Cheerios themselves were good, but then Honey Nut Cheerios was like, okay, it's Cheerios, but these ones taste good instead
like
of
elevated.
like rice. Yeah, and so it's just like it's like the kettle corn of cereal. It's just like a little bit of sweet on the outside, and you can have a nice big bowl of it. You can fit enough of it on your spoon. The size of a Cheerio is perfect.
You still feel like you're kind of being like somewhat healthy with your
You're
choice.
being kind of healthy. There's a bumblebee that's really excited about your life choices. Like it's all kind of
And then there's
nice.
Cocoa Puffs where it's like, let's get wild and just make chocolate milk.
I was gonna say Cocoa Puffs are for the milk.
And I've never had Cocoa Puffs. When I was younger, my sister hated them because she hated that it would make the milk chocolatey,
What?
which I didn't really understand. But I said, okay, yeah, I guess. And so we never bought them, and I just I've never had them. She apparently has tried them at some point in her lifetime, and I guess I wasn't there because I've never
They're
tried them.
basically our Cocoa Puffs. That's what we're doing, right? Cocoa Puffs.
Yes.
Those are like Kicks. They're like Kix
yeah, it's like
size,
chocolate-
but they're
like
chocolate.
pellets. They're like
Yeah.
little ice pellet size.
They're like little pellets.
Pellets.
That's true. They're like
They're like
crushed
the Sonic ice.
Yeah, or the ice at coffee bean and tea leaf or whatever.
Sure.
So I guess if you don't like chocolate milk, you're not going Cocoa Puffs. But I would, I mean, I've never had Cocoa Puffs, but I would venture to say that they taste good dry, right?
I'm not a big fan of like the after part of having the chocolate milk's the reward, but I think to get there,
It's not worth it. The cereal
Yeah.
itself isn't
Yeah,
as good as the
I don't
final
want all
product.
that chocolate.
Also, I know that cereal in your adult life, like you learn eventually that you can eat it at any time of day and it rules. Like a late night bowl of cereal is awesome and Cocoa Puffs are good for that. But I think for a cereal bracket, we also should be discussing if you can eat it in the morning, as is traditionally the way to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big, like Reese's Puffs I think are popular, but not with me because I don't want to eat that in the morning. And I know it's because I was raised on oatmeal and crackling oat bran. And so it's just too sweet for me. At night, all bets are off.
Yeah, because I feel like a Cocoa Puff is more of a, like to your point, a dessert, like a late night treat after I've already had dinner.
And if we feel that way about Cocoa Puffs, I mean, I hope Oreo O's aren't on here because things only get more decadent. And Oreo O's to me, I'm like, I love Oreos, but I'm just going to eat Oreos. I'm not going to eat a cereal that's trying to be an Oreo. So are we moving on Honey Nut Cheerios?
That's
agree.
fine with me.
Wow, this is
Weird.
Next.
Everyone's agreeing. Look, it's just like the old cage. Everyone's going to be happy again. Go ahead.
Apple Jacks versus Cookie Crisp.
Cookie Crisp. Are they still making that?
I don't know.
Honestly, I
Cookie
don't
Crisp?
know.
This won't make sense to anybody who isn't from my generation, but Cookie Crisp felt like cheating. When Cookie Crisp came out, everybody was like, you can do that?
You can bake cookie at breakfast?
You can give me just chocolate chip cookies for breakfast? My family was like, that's not
Those were
happening.
never
It
in the
was like,
house.
My
No.
family was like, we don't even let you have the ones that are pretending to be cereal. You're definitely not just getting cookies in milk for breakfast. Like, ha ha ha, hilarious that somebody thinks that's a thing. It's not going to happen in this house. So I don't know if I've ever even had a bowl of Cookie Crisp.
I've never had it either.
I did once, and it was because I had slept over at a friend's house, and her parents
Knew it was
had
gonna
it.
be
And
a
I remember
friend.
saying, whoa, your parents let you have cookies for breakfast? Okay. Mm-hmm. But then when I told my parents, they said, yeah, that's the only time you're going to have that.
They probably had a finished basement. Did the friend have a finished
Oh,
basement
yeah.
and a bunch of DVDs?
Did this friend have like 5 or
snacks,
6
best movies.
cereals to choose from?
Oh yeah, there was a wide selection. Her family was the family where when I would come over and we would watch movies, her mom would make like a snack platter, and there's like a bunch of different
wow.
chips, a bunch of you've got
What
your
was their last name?
pretzels.
Shout out to Mrs. Whoever.
The Speaker family, Mrs. Speaker.
Shout out to Mrs. Speaker. Speaker of the house in my heart.
Yeah, her house was known to have the best snacks.
I had a friend that a corner of their kitchen was like going to like a mini like Sam's Club. Like they just had all those good snacks in bulk and just like, oh, I just want like a pack of gum for the day. Like, oh, let me get a thing of beef jerky.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, I had that friend where you could grab a pack of gum. And meanwhile, my house was like, do you want some Snack Wells or do you want Stella Doro cookies? And that was it.
they had a chest freezer out in the garage with all like
Wow.
Wow.
Tostino-
They might have killed somebody. In my mind, my experience with those freezers, it's always either a couponer, it's an extreme couponer, or it's a murderer.
and no in between.
And no
Or
in
a
between.
hunter. There's a lot of hunters who put their venison, I guess,
Get the
in
whole
those
cow.
freezers. But yeah, if you've got one of those freezers, I'm like, my guard's up. Mm-hmm. You know,
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm
what
checking
are you
all your
doing?
books for a gun.
I wish I could remember it, but Apple Jacks also had one of the best commercials and songs out there.
What was?
I don't
you
know if I
I
remember
can't
it.
remember it.
Applejack's song. Let me see. Applejack's song.
I don't think I've ever heard it.
Is it a 1982 Kellogg's Applejack's commercial? Probably not.
Do cereal companies still make cereal commercials? Because I haven't seen one since I was a kid.
So, is it that one, Travis? That's very old.
Yeah, they spell out Apple Jacks.
That's from the 70s, from the 80s.
But it was like going on. It was going on when like, listen, I just remember it.
Are they still doing Tricks Are for Kids, I wonder?
I wonder. I don't think cereals make commercials anymore.
It's pretty
And
interesting.
Now you say that, I don't see that many. They should.
I don't think I haven't seen a
think
cereal
Cheerios-
commercial since I was a kid.
I think I've seen a Cheerios commercial.
Cheerios, I
just
think, is the
so-
only one.
Those cops are on my end if you can hear
And
them. You're not
Wheaties.
being pulled
Wheaties
over.
always.
Wheaties was garbage. Are they on here? Because
Oh,
what a
they're
garbage
coming up.
cereal. Okay, then let's not get into it. So this is Apple Jacks versus
Cookie Crisp.
Cookie Crisp.
I'm going Apple Jacks.
I think I'm going Apple Jacks too, but I didn't eat them that much as a kid. But since Apple Cinnamon Cheerios aren't on here, they kind of will have to represent. They're not nearly as good, but
To me, they're like the lesser Fruit Loop because I love Fruit Loops. Apple Jacks were the all right. I mean, I would have rather
Yeah.
had the apple cinnamon Cheerios, but I didn't. So I guess Apple Jacks I'm settling for.
yeah.
And
Listen, if you guys are upset that Cookie Crisp isn't going to move on, then you're the kind of kid that I could never relate to. Like, I think we can all understand that the concept of Cookie Crisp sounds great, and even if it lives up to the hype, which it couldn't possibly, because chocolate chip cookies, it's hard to make them right. But even if they're like little tiny Tate's cookies inside of milk and that's your cereal, we can all agree like that. We can't pick that. That can't be the best cereal. It's cookies and milk.
Yeah, heaven
so
forbid that we would
obviously
pick
it's
something
good.
that makes absolutely no sense to pick in a bracket.
Yeah, like that doesn't make any sense. So I'm really, really sorry if you're really attached to Cookie Crisp, but maybe you should like branch out and try other things because it's just a cereal and it's really just cookies with milk. So let's call it what it is.
Up next, Wheaties versus Frosted Flakes.
Frosted
This is a
Flakes
no-brainer.
1,000 times over. This is like
No-brainer.
cornflakes versus Frosted
No,
Flakes.
but it's not that easy.
Go
You're
ahead.
gonna
Tell me what
advocate for
complicates it.
Wheaties.
Because Mary Lou Retton was on the box of one of them and wasn't on the other. Like who
I mean, that is one reason the boxes were awesome to keep as a kid. I have a few of them.
Totally.
But Frosted
So
Flakes.
you just you like them because it makes you keep garbage?
No, like I have 2 boxes of Wheaties at my house
I know.
right now.
Which is objectively trash. A cereal box is trash.
No, but Frosted Flakes, you're never exactly
Are
like.
perfect.
I don't think like the frost on it is crap.
Frosted
What?
Flakes are my Cookie Crisp. Frosted Flakes are the
Yes.
cereal we were allowed to have. Frosted Flakes was like
I'd rather apply it myself.
no, the same. It's not
No.
the same. If you
Yeah,
put sugar.
no.
A bowl of Frosted Flakes with a chopped up banana. Hello, have a lovely
okay, that's
day.
crazy. I don't think
Have
I
a
will.
lovely day. Absolutely delicious.
Yeah, no,
absolutely delicious.
that's no.
Slicing up a banana. Have you tried it, Christina?
I have actually. And my mom
I
used to.
feel like you're just disagreeing with me because you think that you don't disagree with me enough.
because everybody
This feels
tells
on
me
purpose.
I don't disagree with you
This
enough.
feels
so
performative.
This is,
I want
this
you to
is
be
where I'm
honest.
disagreeing with you. No,
Bananas in your
I've
cereal
had-
is delicious.
I've had a banana in my cereal because my mom one time she used to get the Special K cereal with there's like the
when
fake
with red
strawberries.
berries. When it comes
Yeah.
with its own dehydrated berries, it's
Yeah,
disgusting.
so
It's not
she
the
didn't
same.
like those. So she would like filter them out and cut up real strawberries to put in it. And I thought
She
that
could
looked
just buy
really
regular
cool.
Special K.
So I don't know. She said that the frosting or the coating on the berry one
Okay.
tastes better than the coating on the regular one.
I get that. I think they're sugary.
It's a whole thing. But I asked. I said, well, that looks like that would be good. And so I think she put like a banana in my Honey Nut Cheerios or something. And I
Oh, no,
remember
that's a
saying,
terrible
this is
mashup.
so
It's a-
gross.
It's a bad flavor profile. You got to put it in a Frosted Flakes. You could put it in an All Bran or whatever, Total. Like just like a nice banana in with your
I
cereal.
don't know if I would enjoy a
it's
milky
delicious.
banana.
It's delicious. You would.
This made me think: were your moms also skilled in the art of cutting fruit like with their like knife and their finger?
Yes.
Yes.
How do you
and it
acquire
was
that skill?
perfect.
I don't know. I've tried
Being a
doing it,
mom.
and I've it's ended in a lot of bloody bananas.
Like Travis, I don't think that you can because
I will
think
never
it
be
just
able
comes
to
with
do
being
it.
a mom. It's just
It's the same thing with sliding a pair of scissors up wrapping paper.
wrapping paper.
Like,
Yes. How do you do it so perfectly?
Yeah, every time I do it, it gets caught and rips everything, and I'm like, cool. Can't even use scissors right. Gonna not have a kid, I think.
A banana is now granted a banana is not in the argument, but it's disgusting. But like Wheaties is the breakfast of champions.
Sure, but it's not.
It is.
Yeah, but it's
Those
really not,
guys
though.
weren't- Travis, do you think because you see a celebrity
If
in a
Serena
commercial
Williams
that
will
it
endorse
means-
Wheaties, I think we can move it on.
she'll endorse it, doesn't mean she's eating it.
How do you think she won all those championships? Hard work? No, Wheaties.
It was Wheaties.
Yeah, it was the Wheaties. Yep, you're right.
That's it, Travis. That's definitely what her story is about. It's Frosted Flakes for me. It's
Easy.
not close.
Easy. Frosted Flakes.
I respect the legacy of Wheaties, but it was also a con. It was like, this cereal tastes like garbage, but if we can get the most successful athletes in the world, shout out to them for everything they did for giving money to Olympic athletes. But yes, it's a no for me, dog. I'm getting Frosted Flakes every time.
I'm looking at the next one, and I'm wondering if it's almost a duplicate. So we have Frosted Mini Wheats versus Honey Nut Bunches of Oats. Is that the same as Honey Nut Cheerios?
Nope.
No, it's Honey Bunches of Oats. It's different. It had clusters.
Yep.
Okay.
These are nut clusters versus
With
Honey Nut
bran
Cheerios.
flakes, I
yeah.
believe.
Honey Nut
And
Cheerios
then-
are just its own thing.
Yeah.
But this is like an actual
Honey
cluster.
Bunches of Oats, I believe, is basically Raisin Bran, but instead of raisins, it has like sweet clusters of crunchy oats.
Mm-hmm. I've had
I
Honey
like
Nut
Honey
Bunches of Oats. I like it.
It's just Honey Bunches of Oats, guys. We got to get that right. It's just Honey Bunches of Oats. There's
Oh.
no nut.
Oops.
I mean,
There's no nut, just like my bracket. Hey!
I personally,
Buckeyes.
I'm hoping you two agree, so I don't have to vote, because I think both are just trash.
This is Honey Bunches of Oats versus who now?
Frosted Mini Wheats.
Mini Wheats.
Okay, so Frosted Mini Wheats is the cereal I was referring to before with the activation from the milk. Mm-hmm. Honey Nut, Frosted Mini Wheats, when you put them in a bowl, if you get it completely dry, I have to flip them, almost like it's like chicken in the oven that you're like turn it after. So you have to activate the frosting. You have to make the frosting start to get a little wet, and then you rotate it back, and then you eat it. Mm-hmm. That's the best way to eat those. And when you get them at the perfect sogginess. I like a cereal that's like, you're going to want to put this in a bowl and then walk that bowl over to where you're going to sit, and now they're about to be ready.
You need
and then
some
you eat
time.
the ones on the bottom, and you flip over the ones on the top.
It's a good
and then you
cartoon
can get
show
them
to
all.
eat.
Yeah, it's a good cereal.
And it's a long-lasting cereal because they don't get soggy instantly. So you have some time to sit there, exactly what you just said, to watch a show, like a 30-minute cartoon show. And then it's the perfect long-lasting cereal. And
they stopped. I mean, they got the size down perfect too, because it used to just be frosted wheat, and now those were long, and then they cut them in half and was like, oh, that makes more sense.
I still think though their size is an issue in that you pour a bowl and it's like hard to tell if it's the amount that you want.
You got to get a hearty bowl for those.
You got
to have your big bowl.
You need a big bowl with. Arguably, like, you can't have one of those tight top bowls.
You need more surface
more of like an open
area for
top
milk.
bowl.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like a wide, deep bowl.
Exactly. I've had the Honey Bunches of Oats. The thing I don't like about them, I enjoy the cereal, but sometimes when you get one of those nut clusters, it's almost like dry, powdery in the middle of it because the milk can't seep into the middle. So when you bite one of them, it's like the outside gets kind of soggy with the milk, and the inside is like dry, powdery, not great.
Also, shout out to Diana Hunter, the woman from the Honey Bunches of Oats commercial. The
She's
lady
electric.
who has she's got all right, Travis, chill out. She has a lady, like a hairnet on, like a lunch lady, and she yells about Honey Bunches of Oats, and she, like, I assume worked in the factory or whatever, but she was the best. She was full of love and light, and she came out of retirement in 2018 to appear again as a cameo in the new ad campaign.
Oh,
So,
good for her.
Shout out to her. Also, this says, what is Diana Hunter worth? $1 million. So
Even better for her.
I hope that, get paid, lady.
I'm still going Frosted Mini Wheats.
Yeah, I think I am too. I like Honey Bunches of Oats. Again, they were one of the healthy cereals that I could eat that like had a little bit of sweetness in it that I was like sick. I feel like I'm kind of cheating. But Frosted Mini Wheats I still eat to this day, and I haven't bought a box of Honey Bunches of Oats in a while.
Perfect. I don't have to vote. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You made the bracket.
Yeah, but I didn't want to make the bracket about me.
This next one's hard, though.
You're supposed to make it so there's discussion. Okay,
the union. Then the union wanted these two on there.
Is this the last matchup, or is there two? Are there two more?
There's
three in total. Yeah.
Hell
1, 2,
yeah.
3.
Okay,
3.
let's go.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch versus Lucky Charms.
Why do you do this?
See, that's why I said I think this one's hard. Because I
Why
love
wouldn't you
both
put one
so
of
much.
these against Honey Bunches of Oats and one of these against... Okay, so it's, again with the activation of the milk. I actually like Lucky Charms marshmallows better before they get wet.
Before they get soggy.
No.
Like, I like them freeze-dried and weirdly crunchy.
No, I like them a little
So do
soggy.
I like them both
think
ways,
that-
but I think I prefer them a little crunchy.
The thing about Lucky Charms that bums me out is that I don't think the cereal itself is good. The marshmallows are obviously what it's all about. I almost said mushrooms. The marshmallows are obviously what it's all about, but I think the cereal had some room to shine, and it just wasn't, I didn't love it. It could have been a better, whatever it is. Little X's? What is it?
They were letters.
They are letters?
Yeah.
I don't think they're letters.
I don't know. I think they're just like weird shapes.
I thought they were letters.
They're magically delicious. I thought they were like X's and triangles. They're like PlayStation buttons, right?
Yeah, no, okay, I think that is right. I agree with you. The cereal doesn't live up to the hype of Lucky Charms because the marshmallows just far carry this into, being a superior cereal. If we're talking about just a sugary, delicious cereal, Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch is the
and
best cereal.
And the milk after. Ugh,
the best.
So good. It's the best.
The best.
And I will get, to your point of Fruity Pebbles on like a frozen yogurt, I will get Cinnamon Toast Crunch in certain, not all yogurts.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah,
in
like
certain
vanilla
yogurts,
yogurt. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like
if I'm doing more of like a
that'd be
plain
delicious.
yogurt, like a plain vanilla or like a plain something, I'll do Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
But Lucky Charms is like,
flavor profile.
You can get a little wild, but still kind of have,
What? Still have what?
It's not this total just crazy like a Cocoa Puffs. Like you get a little wild with the marshmallows, but you go back to the cereal brand.
But the cereal itself isn't great.
I actually feel like Cinnamon Toast Crunch doesn't hide what it is from me. Whereas I have no idea what those marshmallows are made up of or how they work or how much sugar has to go into that to keep it that way. Cinnamon Toast Crunch is like, look, we're like a square of cookie or cracker or whatever the hell you would even call it, rice, puffed rice or whatever. And then we're just going to coat it in cinnamon and sugar. We're not hiding it in like a sugary glaze. It's like I understand what the ingredients are. It's cinnamon and sugar on top of a thing.
And it's
enough
delicious.
of it clings to the cereal, which is fascinating, and enough of it floats off into the milk, which then leads to the Cinnamon Toast Crunch is the best cereal. I will say, in college, I met a guy at freshman orientation who ended up being my boyfriend for a couple of years. His name was Sal. His AIM screen name was Toasted Charm, and when I asked him why, he was like, because it's my two favorite cereals, and I put them together into one.
Whoa.
Which was Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Lucky Charms. He also, I think, used to put them both in the same bowl, which I was like, you've gone too far.
It's funny, I
This
actually
is
called
anarchy.
Sal, and that's why I put these two together.
Did you? You called him?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I bet.
Also,
I
makes
bet you
sense.
did.
Lucky Charms is a good one that you can have dry too.
You can have
Yeah, I
Cinnamon
like
Toast
Lucky
Crunch
Charms
dry.
better dry, but Cinnamon Toast Crunch dry is absolutely
I mean, it's one of
delicious.
those things. It's like when you eat Cheetos and then your hand's covered in like the cinnamony dust. But then
I feel like it's easier to grab
your
a fistful
fingers
of
after.
Lucky Charms though.
I specifically remember, because again, not allowed to have Cinnamon Toast Crunch in our house, but it was what I wanted. It was like the box I went for when we got the little boxes. But I remember going over to, it must have been middle school. I went over to my friend Pepekai Marangu's house, and her family had 2 boxes of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And she was like, do you want to eat some cereal as like an after school snack? And I was like,
Do
yeah.
I ever?
Do you have Cinnamon Toast Crunch? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, hell yeah. I ate an entire box because I was like, can I just get another bowl? And she was like, yeah. And I got another bowl. I ate an entire box, and I went back home with this eating grin on my face that I was like, Mom, you can't tell me nothing today. I ate an entire box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch in middle school, tiny little Katie, because I loved it. And every bowl gets better. And when you go get more milk and you're like, hell yeah, I'm having another bowl. Or you like pour a bowl in to use the milk that you have left over. And then you're like, nah, it's not enough. I got to go get more milk.
So I was just
good.
going to ask you that. How often were you one that you had enough milk in your mind that you were going to add more cereal instead of just drinking the milk?
Well, my plan originally was I would put in so much milk in the first bowl by accident, quote unquote. So I would finish with so much milk that I was like, well, I could probably just put more cereal in this milk.
That's
and then I
the way
would
you have to do
finish that bowl, and at the end of it be like, let me just get a little bit more milk to finish it off with, put too much milk in there, and then, oh, well, now I might as well, I'm going to waste all this milk. Let me just go get a third bowl. And then eventually I think Pepu was just like, you can just have more bowls. You don't have to come up with these weird reasons that you need more bowls of cereal. So I was like, thank you so much.
No, I
So
would
I'm
do the
going
exact
Cinnamon
same
Toast
thing.
Crunch.
I have a feeling I'm going to lose out on this one.
I'm gonna go Cinnamon Toast Crunch too.
Travis?
Lucky Charms.
Did you want to make one last argument for him?
Back
'Cause
to
I'll
the
hear it.
commercials too. I mean, did anybody have better commercials than Lucky Charms?
Yeah, I thought they were rude. I thought Lucky Charms commercials were rude.
No.
I honestly don't remember their commercials.
And
What was the
here's-
slogan? It was the little leprechaun.
They're
who was trying
magically
to steal them.
delicious.
here's another thing that goes to Lucky Charms. I just thought about it. Is they had one of the best boxes with like games and stuff on
So
it.
did Fruit Loops.
So while you're eating it,
so did
you could read the
another
box and
cereal
play the
that
games
is
or
one of my
whatever.
favorite. Yeah, the
Oh.
backs of cereal boxes are not what they used to be. But anyway, Cinnamon Toast Crunch wins.
Yeah, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Sorry, Travis. You shouldn't have matched these two up against each other. That's a note for the union, if you could tell
Listen,
your steward.
I didn't match them up. The union did. I respect the
Let
union's
Kristen
decision.
Stewart know. Yeah, okay. Well, next matchup.
Rice Krispie or Kix?
Again, these are too similar. These
That's
are
why I
second
wanted
round matchups.
the union wanted one of them to go.
Oh, the union wanted. Okay. Kix were kid tested, mother approved. They had Mikey, right? Mikey was the Kix kid.
Yep.
And that was cool. We didn't really buy Kix that
I never
much.
had them. I didn't think that. I thought the taste was like,
They were too corny.
yeah,
I liked
And then
Kix.
pun intended.
You did. And then the other cereal you said was what?
Rice Krispies,
Rice Krispies.
Snack Crackle Pop.
Remember when they came out with Rice Krispies Treats cereal? That was also, I think that was after Cookie Crisp, and then we were like, this is getting out of hand, guys. You're just gonna give me fudge in a bowl. Rice Krispies, the Snap Crackle Pop is unmatched, and without them, you couldn't make Rice Krispies Treats.
It's like Fruity Pebbles, though. Your lifespan is
yeah,
quick.
that's true. But as
I don't
far
like
as
Rice
healthy
Krispies.
cereals go, you don't.
I was never a fan of the actual Rice Krispie treats with marshmallow. Not a fan of those. And the Rice Krispie
you're
cereal,
sick.
I don't enjoy. It's too dry. That doesn't bring anything to the table.
No, it's small enough that you can get a whole bunch of it on a spoon with some milk and really
and
crunch.
you
It's like
sprinkle
Pop
some
Rocks.
sugar on
It's
it.
like cereal Pop Rocks.
Yeah, I don't want to have to
Yeah.
add sugar to my sugar cereal. I want it to come
Rice Krispies
with
is
it already.
it's a good banana cereal. Rice Krispies is probably the best.
You and your
add a
bananas.
banana to this. I'm just letting the people out there. I'm just representation is important, and I'm letting the people who put bananas in their cereal know.
I have a question for Christina though. So, you don't like Rice Krispie treats at all? Like if they're like someone
No.
makes homemade at like a party, you don't like?
Do you have an issue with marshmallows?
No, I love marshmallows. I don't like when you eat them. You have to eat them in a certain way where you're still holding them in the wrapper. If you do the store bought Rice
Yeah.
Krispies, because your fingers get sticky as you eat it, and I didn't like that. I don't like
But
my
hold
hands
on.
Do you
getting
eat
dirty.
Cheetos?
Yeah, you were the defender of
do.
Cheetos.
Yeah, but I could lick my fingers after.
You're a hypocrite.
You can
with
lick
Rice
your
Krispie,
fingers.
but I don't like the way
Fingers?
it tastes because it's all fake
I
marshmallow.
just said fingers like a 2-year-old. I said you can lick your fingers after you eat a Rice Krispies
Also,
treat.
they don't get that sticky, really.
No, they really don't. I want to support you in everything and lift women up, but I can't lift you up on this.
I don't like Rice
Can I
Krispies.
bring you some Rice Krispie treats and on the next podcast, like we just have you eat one to prove like it?
You
Put some
can.
gym equipment. Put some gym equipment in them. That'll help.
That would probably help a lot. Travis, if you could bring me those, now we're talking.
Yeah. I had a Rice Krispies treat with Chex the other day.
Interesting.
What's funny though is I don't like the actual name brand Rice Krispie treats. I like homemade. There's
Make
something.
your own. Do you make them yourself, Travis?
No, there was a family friend, Trish Gillis, who made the best.
We're
Shout out
shouting
Trish
out
Gillis.
all the family friends on
Yeah,
this
I'm just
pod.
saying the names of
The
everybody
best, and she
from my
knew
childhood.
it too. Like she'd like let you know, like, hey, I'm gonna bring my Rice Krispie treats. Like she knew she had the best, and they were amazing. The calf at work, Flick, they make some good ones.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan. I was never a fan as a kid. I like Kix.
I don't think I did. I don't remember, but I really don't think I did, because if we did, they were healthy enough that they would have been in my house, and they weren't.
The fact that they
so-
try to come across as like, you know, the kids like it and the parents approve it, that's BS. And
Well, it
Why?
says kid tested.
Kid test-
It doesn't
like,
say. It doesn't say that they like.
You can
it.
see
It
that
doesn't
they're
say tested on them.
they're trying too hard to
come.
to get you to buy their stuff. I'm going for Rice Krispies.
And I also just don't know why they're named that. And it was very confusing because Trix was a better cereal, but it was Kix, and it's Kix and Trix. I felt like they were colluding. Anyway, we're gonna go with Rice Krispies, but I don't feel that
And
strong.
up next is a banger.
This is the last matchup.
It's
I
a
assume.
banger.
This is like CT versus West
I
or
hope
something.
it's Cinnamon Life. I hope Cinnamon Life is in
Captain
here. Go
Crunch
ahead.
versus Trix.
Oh God, this is I can't even participate in this because I didn't ever have any of these. What was Captain Crunch's deal?
They're little like small rectangle.
Yeah, they're like little tiny,
You need
like
you need to get them soggy, or else they will rip your mouth up.
yeah, they will severely cut the roof of your mouth.
I think Planet Hollywood went back when I was at the age where I would go to the city for like a gymnastics meet, and they would have Planet Hollywood restaurants. We would go to those. I think they used to have Captain Crunch crusted chicken fingers, and I remember being like, "Hell yeah, this sounds good!" And then I got one, and I was like, "These suck. They suck."
Now, my personal favorite is mixed berries, but we went with the basic.
Okay, and that just tastes like crunchy, sugary.
It's got like
rice.
maybe like I'm trying to think like a corn type flavor to it, maybe.
Okay, sure, maybe.
But
and then that's up against Trix, which are I don't remember what those are. Those Fruit Loops that just aren't circles.
They're like fruit shaped.
It's essentially, yeah, they're fruit shaped, so it's essentially a Fruit Loop. It's what Fruit Loop wants to be.
Did the flavors all taste different, Travis, or were they like loops?
I think they were a little different. I mean, I don't know though. I can't confirm this one.
See,
Newly returned Trix shapes do also taste like the original flavor Trix orbs we've had for a while. They're uniquely fruity, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so it doesn't say that that didn't actually answer the question. One of the number one asked questions when you type in Trix to Google is, can you eat Trix over the age of 12? Like, what? Is it because Trix are for kids? Like, is it, you guys, it's not a law, it's just a slogan.
I like Captain Crunch. I think when we were talking about boxes, one of their boxes had the best games, and they had like these like fun little adventure maps on the back. I would eat so many bowls of cereal just to sit there and play all of the games they had on the back. Love Captain Crunch.
The one thing that Trix has over Captain Crunch is the leftover milk is much better.
I was never a big fan of the Trix, and I know that don't they have Trix yogurt too?
Well, Trix yogurt is the bee's knees.
And the Trix, ugh. And I don't like yogurt. I like frozen yogurt, but regular yogurt I don't like.
Watermelon? They added a watermelon Trix? I disagree.
I'm talking about when the cereal's gone and you have just the milk. The milk left over from Trix is superior than the milk left over with Captain Crunch.
I would probably agree, but if we're going to go by far, if we're going leftover milk, it is not the best leftover milk. But it's better than Captain Crunch's leftover milk.
So the cereal originally used spherical cereal pieces, so it did used to be balls. But in 1991, they were changed to puffed fruit-shaped pieces, presumably to avoid clashing with Berry Berry Kix, which was introduced in 1992.
Okay.
2007, they went back to their original shape in the United States, but Mexico stayed strong with fruit-shaped pieces. And then in late 2018, we all went back to the fruit pieces.
Okay.
General Mills announced in 2015 it was no longer going to use artificial colors in its cereals, which seems like, how are they making it blue then?
Yeah, I have now more questions. How is that working?
Oh, see, it says Trix announced then it would go from 6 colors to 4 because satisfactory natural alternatives were found for orange, yellow, red, and purple, but not blue or green.
Huh.
But then they brought 6 colors back in, and artificial dyes would be used to do so. All right, so Trix just seems like it doesn't stand for what it believes in.
It sounds like it's
they're really wishy-washy.
It sounds like it's Sister Jean's favorite cereal. I mean, they're both frauds. But Captain Crunch, when it gets that perfect saturation, it's money.
I love Captain Crunch. One of the best cereals.
I'm voting Captain Crunch. Yeah, there's something about
so
it.
Good. And I can't accurately explain what it tastes like. It's just good.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know the flavor. I can't
I will say shout out to Trix yogurt. I remember I was a yogurt kid because I don't do cold cuts, as we all know, and so I used to get yogurts in my lunch. And when they came out with Trix yogurt, it was very, very good.
Yeah, I'm not a big yogurt fan.
You have to be a yogurt fan, Christina, as a woman for the active cultures or whatever. It's important.
Okay.
Don't you listen to Jamie Lee Curtis? Gotta get our guts right or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
What are you finding about Captain Crunch?
I'm not really seeing
anything of value.
They don't want you to know what it tastes like, apparently.
Are Crunch Berries good?
Crunch Berries is the best.
So Crunch is Captain Crunch is a corn and oat breakfast cereal.
Okay, so I was right with the corn.
It was the original cereal was developed to recall a recipe of brown sugar and butter over rice. What? It's supposed to taste like brown sugar and butter over rice. But it was one of the first cereals to use an oil coating to deliver its flavoring.
When I get Captain Crunch, it's like I'm treating myself. It's like if I go to when you could go to the bar and you get like a really classy liquor and you're gonna like go a little above and beyond for yourself.
The mascot is a late 18th century naval captain, in case you guys were wondering what decade he was living in. An elderly gentleman with white eyebrows and a white mustache who wears a revolutionary-style naval uniform, a bicorn hat emblazoned with a C, and a gold epauletted blue coat with gold bars on the sleeves. While typically an American naval captain wears 4 bars on his sleeves, the mascot has been variously depicted over the years wearing only 1 bar, which is an ensign, or 2 bars, which is a lieutenant, or even 3, which is a commander. So I need to understand the military complex happening within the Captain Crunch universe before I would feel comfortable moving him forward.
So you'd rather...
I just want to know where he ranks.
You'd rather...
If he's going to tell me he's a captain and he's going to make it happen with the captain, I just need to know that I can't make it happen with a lieutenant.
Maybe there's a difference between a captain and a captain.
Maybe. But then I would like that to be described to me in clear and certain terms.
I'm still going to vote for the captain.
Me too. Captain all the way.
Okay, then that one's finished. Now that we've done the first round, we're going to stop and do an ad. But first, let me tell you, you messed up by leaving out Smacks. Justice for Smacks, the best cereal that pulled off the like puffed rice but also sweet. It was covered in like a brownie. It was like molasses almost.
I had Smacks once and I don't remember it.
Smacks are so good and it's like a unique taste that no other cereal has. Smacks are delicious and if you don't respect them, try them again now that you're an adult.
I didn't expect to have a perfect bracket, and I'm not saying that Smacks isn't good or bad because I honestly can't remember them. I didn't think that was going to be...
Raisin Bran Crunch also not being in here is bad.
I couldn't put Raisin Bran. Like, if you can't...
Raisin Bran Crunch is different. Raisin Bran Crunch is the
never
cool
had
kid
that.
of the Raisin Bran cereals.
I can see that.
It tastes sweet enough and is cool enough. Raisin Bran Crunch is what's up. So, shout out to Raisin Bran Crunch. Sorry to Kashi, but we're just not talking about you at this at this juncture. What's the one that is penguins?
Puffins.
It's Puffin.
What?
The little Puffin thing. Those are good.
I don't think
I've had those.
And Cinnamon Life. Cinnamon Life is criminally underrated. I also noticed you didn't put a single Chex in here, which is fine because they're really all the same and I don't like them that much. But we didn't get to talk about Muddy Buddies, which is Chex when you mix it with powdered sugar and I think chocolate and peanut butter and you mix
Puppy
it.
Chow.
And that stuff is awesome. Yeah, Puppy Chow, but it's also called Muddy Buddies.
I could go for a bag of Puppy Chow. I remember you'd make it in school and you just have that bag and like if you were one of the kids
you could just eat so much of it and the crunch was perfect.
And it was you hated if like someone out like there, there'd be some days where like another classmate or whatever and like you'd see them walk around and you're like, damn it, I really want, but then if you had it you're like, what's up?
But Christina, I bet you used a spoon for it because it does get all over your fingers and I wouldn't want it to ruin your experience. So anyway, that's me just justice for those cereals that were unfairly omitted from this bracket. I think that's all of my favorites. Okay. Today's podcast is brought to you by, this is a new sponsor, Full Sail University. So Travis, how would you like me to tell the people?
As if you're a flight attendant who keeps making announcements and I want like, they come on and they go through all the things and then it's like, oh, if you sign up now you get free 30,000 miles and it's like,
well, I have to just say the words that are in the ad, so that's not helpful direction, but I'll try it.
Like, just let me listen.
Let
me listen to my movie.
What? Okay. Oh yeah, you know what the worst thing they do is that I won't do in this ad because it'll make the ad longer is when they push the button and they don't talk and they're like looking for something like and you're like, I could be watching my movie while you gather your thoughts.
It's like I pulled my headphones out and now I'm anticipating a message that's not coming.
And I'm like, can you just please just start talking. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of Sports with Katie Nolan is brought to you by Full Sail University's Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting. Legendary sportscaster Dan Patrick has teamed up with Full Sail University to offer an accelerated bachelor's degree in sportscasting. We know you have a lot of choices when it comes to universities, and we thank you for choosing Full Sail University, which combines hands-on learning, immersive projects, and faculty with real-world experience to prepare students for life in the media industry. Here's something that happens a lot now on planes that you guys might not even know yet. Per federal regulation, you must wear a mask at all times. That used to be our policy, but now it's a federal law. So please keep your mask on at all times in between sips. They said that multiple times on my flight out here. In between sips. And for the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting, they've brought in some of the best to be a part of this program. You wouldn't have heard that. I wouldn't have been on the mic. Longtime ESPN producer and multi-time Emmy winner Gus Ramsey is our pilot tonight. He's heading up the program. And sportscasting pros and flight attendants such as Sage Steele, Nicole Briscoe, and Jay Harris all the way in the back, and many more are involved. In this program, students will learn sportscasting inside and out, on camera, behind the camera, podcasting, radio, interviewing, and everything in between. At Full Sail University's Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting, you can sit back, relax, and earn a bachelor's degree in about half the time, as short as 20 months. And you can choose to earn your degree online or on Full Sail's campus in Orlando, Florida. Your crew tonight is Orlando-based, so that's very exciting news for us. To learn more about Full Sail University's Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting and a random credit card somehow offered by this airline, please go to fullsail.edu/Nolan. Welcome to the friendly skies.
That was good.
We happy? We happy with that?
Beautiful.
Second round. Let's do it. What do we got?
Fruit Loops versus Honey Nut Cheerios.
It's versus. My mom's going to get mad if I let you come on this podcast and say verse. It's versus. Fruit Loops versus who?
Honey Nut Cheerios.
Honey Nut Cheerios. Oh, boy.
That's a tough one.
Look, I'm 34. I don't know if I've said that on this podcast yet. I say it often. And just in my adult age, it's about taking swings when it's worth it. And just speaking from personal experience, and then I will be willing to hear all sides. But from my personal experience, Fruit Loops have now been ruled out for me from the worth it category. If I'm going to go big on a cereal and I want something sweet, I'm going to go with others that we'll discuss later. I haven't bought a bowl of Fruit Loops in a while. Now, a box. You can't just buy a bowl. But Honey Nut Cheerios, it's tough for me because if this were apple cinnamon, I could really be honest and just pick apple cinnamon. It wouldn't be close for me. But I think Honey Nut Cheerios, representing the Cheerio family, they bring the sweetness. And like Travis said, the thing that becomes more important as you get older is that you can feel healthy still when you eat them. They might not be healthy, but you at least feel like you're doing something for your heart health because that's what that bee is always buzzing on about. Whether or not it's true, I'm not 60, so I'm not like looking into whether it's true or not. But I'm just taking it at face value. Fruit Loops is like, these taste good. And Honey Nut Cheerios is like, these taste as good as they can. They're also kind of healthy. And so I would go with Honey Nut Cheerios, but I don't feel great about it. So let's discuss.
Fruit Loops, I will say to your defense, it's like, oh, I'm deciding that I'm going to start my day off with a sugar high. Like, let's just unload.
Absolutely.
But.
Oh.
Do you miss her? Because Dan just sent
That's
me that
mean.
picture, and he said this.
That's just not.
He said
fun.
This sleepy girl misses you, guys. It's just a picture of Myrtle asleep on her favorite stack of pillows, but boy, she looks so stinking cute. Oh,
is that her little paw
yes,
underneath her?
It is. She
Stop
curls
it.
her paw
Stop
under her
it.
face so much.
My uncle sent me a photo of their dog. Look how he was sleeping. He's in, but
That's really
he's
funny.
floating on a footrest and part of the couch.
So it's the part of the couch that has the ottoman, and it's the dog's head is on the ottoman, but its body is on the chair. But there is space between the ottoman and the chair, so his legs are just dangling down. That's very funny. I apologize for distracting us. You were making an important point about cereal.
You're starting off with the sugar high. I feel like Fruit Loops.
I'm okay with that.
I'm torn on this one.
I am too.
I'm going Fruit Loops.
The bracket designer had considered this matchup.
I understand that Honey Nut Cheerios are probably, if I'm going to convince myself of health, I'm going to go that direction.
Convince myself of health.
Christina's still young though, so she's like,
you're young enough that you don't have to worry about that.
But also, it's not healthy. They like to say that it is, but it's still cereal. So if I'm going to go cereal, it's the same thing with if I'm going to go, decadent dessert, I'm not going to try to go the health route. I'm just going to go big or go home.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go Fruit Loops.
I'm
going to start my day on a sugar high.
We eat cereal so much in our house because anybody who has a lifelong gym membership knows it's one of the best things to eat after a workout. It's just the wetness combined with the crunchiness that you really can't get from a lot of other things. I will also say I've recently discovered eating an apple after the gym. Weirdly enjoyable.
What kind of apple?
Very fantastic. Usually like a Gala or a Cortland or a
I'm
Macintosh.
a team Honeycrisp.
Oh, Honeycrisp is good. They're a little hard for me. I like them to have a little bit of softness when you bite into the crisp on the outside, whereas Honeycrisp is kind of firm throughout. But I do, we could do an apple bracket later.
But Fruit Loops, I feel like in the morning I'm not ever craving them. It's one of those like afternoon or nights where I'm like, I could go for a bowl of Fruit Loops.
Yeah, every now and then I'll be like, I want Fruit Loops
Yes.
right now. I don't crave Honey Nut Cheerios, but I can
Never,
eat them
never have
regularly.
I craved them.
And I just think that they deserve some credit for consistency. They haven't ever tried to do anything crazy different. They're just like a sweet-coated little rice circle, and they love you, and
I'm still going.
And they mean it.
Still going to
That's
go
right, they do
Fruit
mean
Loops because it's that good treat
That's
that I can
fine.
have.
yeah. So you both are going to go Fruit Loops. That's okay. We can do Fruit Loops.
If it was apple cinnamon Cheerios, I really would not be able to have
as long as we've made that clear. As long as
strong of an
I'm comfortable
opinion
with
for
moving
Froot
Fruit
Loops.
Loops on because I do love Fruit Loops, and growing up they were my favorite of the cereals before I discovered Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I loved Fruit Loops. But I'm comfortable moving Fruit Loops on. I love Fruit Loops. If it were Apple Cinnamon Cheerios, I want it to be known that Apple Cinnamon Cheerios would have.
I'm scrubbing this from the record when I edit.
Nope, leave it. Please leave it in. I'm being censored. My platform's being taken away.
Up next. What was that sound?
My boyfriend's
He's just
cooking.
putting deodorant on. Just leave him alone.
Yeah, don't mind. Yeah,
Just leave
don't mind
He's
him.
just slapping it into that armpit. Travis, what do we got next?
He thinks that microphones don't pick up what he does, and they only pick up what I do because I talk.
And Katie's
into
like, now
it.
you feel my
He doesn't-
struggle with Dan.
Yeah, right?
He
I gotta-
doesn't think that
At least
when
he's
he
not
walks
pissing
around.
5 feet from you.
No, but he's just banging pots and pans because I live in an apartment where all of that is in one
Hey,
space.
tell him we said it's okay and that we love him and that I hope he's making something
And we
delicious.
kind of mean it.
I hope he wants to share. It kind of looks good. Anyway,
Anyway,
Apple
next matchup.
Jacks versus Frosted Flakes.
It's Frosted Flakes for me.
well, Frosted Flakes
Oh, see,
for
Christina
sure. Because
did it.
Apple
She
Jacks
just
are
agreed
the
with me.
lesser Fruit Loops.
Christina agrees with me.
Wait,
so-
I can't do that. Should I pick the other
Just
one?
to, make it sound like you were about to pick the other one. I think people will really appreciate that.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna go Apple Jacks, but I'm gonna go Frosted Flakes.
Okay, that's good.
Simply because I want to agree with Katie.
Yeah, that's really good. Travis, time to say something that's anarchy. Time to introduce anarchy to the conversation.
Actually, I don't as much. I voted against Frosted Flakes, but if it's up against Apple Jacks, I'm gonna take Frosted Flakes.
Frosted Flakes are really good. They're thin enough.
They're one of the superior cereals.
They're thin enough. They're you got to eat them pretty fast.